right. Let me see here. I tell you, it's been one of those mornings as I'm slowly getting things straightened out here. Hope everyone is doing well on this another great Saturday afternoon, wherever you are. Hope things are going well for you. Button the music on, play on out there. Got a nice stack of books to share. I'm going to call it oddball books. The books that you come across, you have absolutely no idea how you come across them, but you have them nonetheless. I do believe just when you think you're ready and all set to go, but you find yourself going like, oh, I'm not quite ready to go yet. Go ahead and bring the music down. There we go. As always, thank you all for joining me today. Hope things are going well for you wherever you are and whatever you may be doing. I think I am I'm all set, ready to go. Thank you all for joining me today, whether live, lurking, or you catch me on a replay. I do appreciate your time and hope I can be of some entertainment for you, or at least share something that doesn't quite bore you to death. There we go. Let's go ahead and fade that music on out there. There we go. There it is. Let me see. Got this there, that there. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. So what's going on for today is, as you can tell by the thumbnail, some oddball books. The books that beg the question, why do I own these? Like, how did I even come across these? I've got not quite a short box full of these books. Ones I can't remember ever buying, but somehow they came into my possession. Again, a quick drink of tea here to wet the whistle. Got the 3 C's I'm going off of today: caffeine, chocolate, and comic books. Yeah, I just threw that in there because, I don't know, it's alliteration. People like alliteration for some reason. So let me fire up the camera here. There we go. My messy, messy desk. So some of these are oddball books. Honestly, yeah, I've never read these. It's like the sort of thing I get from trading or whatnot, or somebody even might just out of the blue come up to me and say, hey, I've got a box of comic books I just don't want. Do you want them? Otherwise, I'm going to throw them in the dumpster. And I said, oh, yeah, I'll take them. No need to throw them in the dumpster. Say I have a comic book. Now, some of these, I have absolutely no idea what they are. I have no idea if they're any good. This is like somebody went overboard and put not 1, but 2 pieces of Scotch tape holding it there. There. The sound of Scotch tape ripping away. as I bump into my microphone. That's going to be something I do between now and New Year's is reorganize my desk so I'm not bumping into my microphone. Maybe rearrange how I have my camera set up, relocate my mixer, whatnot. All right, Malibu Comics. They come out with some oddball stuff. Like we have Prime #1, 64-page annual. I don't know anything about these books. This is Battletech Fallout, based on the hit animated series #1. December of 1994. Roland Mann did the scripting. Tim Eldred doing the penciling and letters. Abraham Madison doing the inking. Chris Young coloring. And Mark Panacea doing the editing. Don't know if it's any good. Don't know what the story is. Not familiar with the hit animated series, but yeah, there it is. Art and coloring look okay for that time period. I don't believe I've ever read this book, and I believe this is the first time I've had it out of its baggie, and that will go away as he flies across the room. Oddball Books first issue collector's item. It's a collector's item because it tells you right there. It says collector's item. You must collect me. Mortal Kombat Blood and Thunder, based on a hit arcade game. Yes, it's foily, it's shiny, it's embossed, it's spiffy, all those things. Again, somebody with the 2 pieces of Scotch tape. That didn't stop me from opening it. Yeah. All right, now that's a heck of a first image. You open the book and you're greeted with that. That's an attention getter. July of 1994. Again, something I've never read. Same thing with Prime. Occasionally, I like going through these old books because it makes me think of all the stuff going on with independent comic creators today. It's like, oh, we got something new. We're making a new book. We're new comics creators. And all the while, I'm looking at stuff from the 80s and 90s going, well, there's been like a dozen or so companies, comic publishers that have come and gone that aren't even around anymore. Malibu Comics, I don't even know if Malibu Comics is around. I know. I can look them up real quick. Malibu Comics. Hello, Mr. Wikipedia. Let's see. No, they are defunct in 1994. They were acquired by Marvel Comics. Malibu, they were formerly Malibu Graphics from 1986 to 1992. Founded in 1986. And yeah, and then they, well, I'm not going to read the Wikipedia entry. It seems quite expansive. And really no point in going into that. But yeah, it's like I look at these independent publishers and I see them as warning tales for new creators, whether you be Comicsgate or whatnot. Today is like, if you can't stay the course, then you're going to fold under like so many others. This is Sliders, 1 of 2 and number 2 of 2. based on the hit TV series by Armada Comics. Okay. I can't remember how I acquired these. I'm going to set these aside. I'm going to set them. Oh, yeah. Raver. Star Trek's Walter Koenig with Dan and David Day. Malibu Comics #1. First Fantastic issue, collector's special. And we got the whole gimmicky cover that was the big to-do way back when in the 90s, early 90s. Going to set these aside right there. All right. Sliders. Armada Comics. Okay, let's look up Armada Comics. Where did they come from and where did they go to? I'm not finding much on them. No, nothing really much on Armada. There's no Wikipedia entry that jumps right out at me. Okay, something about Valiant. So I'm guessing that one time Armada Comics was around, or they were a thing as a publisher, then they might have merged with Valiant at some point. All right, first time in, I don't know, 30 years opening this up. Let's have a look. This looks practically new. This has never been read, never been opened. I kind of enjoyed Sliders as when it was around. All right, this is June of 1996. Written by D.G. Chichester. That is a name. Story concepts by Tracy Torme, penciler. Dick Giordano, inker. Mike DiCarlo, letterer by Jade Mode. Colorist Sam Rarezack and graphic color works. Sliders created by Tracy Torme. All right. Artwork doesn't look too bad for a TV show tie-in. I remember enjoying the TV show way back when, but then it was like, things changed. As TV shows often do, it's like they change from one season to the next, and it's like, okay, all of a sudden, they jump the shark, so to speak, and go off the deep end. There's a number of TV shows from the 80s and 90s that did that. Sliders did that, particularly toward the last season, or last couple of seasons. Issues 1 and 2, 2-issue miniseries based on a TV show. Never read them. I may actually make time to read those. Future Tech, #1 by Mushroom Comics. This has got to be as obscure as I can imagine. I have never heard of Mushroom Comics. Let's have a look here. This was Losing Ground, Part 1 of 4. January of 1996. First printing. Coloring is really vibrant. I mean, the art is The art's okay. Kind of reminds me of some manga influences, perhaps. Again, have absolutely no idea what the story's about and never read it. Can't tell you how I acquired this comic book. Oh, I see you in the chat. Dead Man Walking. Hello there. Thank you for joining me today. Use the force. Yes, yes. Going to be in and out, working on some things at the moment, he says. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Thank you for joining me today. As I round out. Oh, what is this? Is this a flip book? Yes. Oh, look at this. This is a flip book. Swarm #1. So it's a flip book with a I'm undecided about the art. It doesn't look bad. It looks typical for some independent publishers in the 90s. Issue #2 coming out in March of 96. Okay. Absolutely no idea what the story is about. Looks like it might be interesting. Then we flip it back over to Future Tech #1. All right, Mushroom Comics. Let's look these up. That sounds kind of like a very funny name. Mushroom Comics. No immediate entry. They are, it's something as obscure if they don't have a Wikipedia entry. Like Armada Comics, Mushroom Comics. Mushroom Comics. Nope. Nope. No immediate entry for Mushroom Comics. Pencils and cover by Perry S. Yim. Inks and cover by Marco Galli. Written by Robert, and I'm not going to attempt that last name. Coloring by Aaron Ricks. Cover colors by Gene Jimenez. Lettering and graphics by Paul Heim. I may look this up to see what the history of it is, because this does kind of grab my attention, just simply because it seems quite well. It's the coloring that leaps out and grabs you. Seems to be a fair amount of action going on. Yeah, this has my interest. I will look this particular book up to see what the history of it is. But yeah, defunct publishers. I always look at them as like it speaks to something about how people over the decades, starting off in like the 80s and 90s, for every few creators who have made it, there's always been like a short list of ones that haven't made it, much like this one right here. This is Port Issue 1 by Silver Wolf Comics. This was February of 1987, published monthly sometimes by Silver Wolf Comics. Well, at least they're honest about it. Published monthly sometimes. That's kind of funny, actually. Superhero type comic character. Fair black and white art. Typical for the late 80s, I believe. I believe there were 2 issues of this particular title released by Silver Wolf. Some of their other books were like Legion X. Let's see. Gotta love these old ads and these old books. I tried looking up the history of Silver Wolf. The creator, the comic creator kind of came and went. Actually, I forget all the particulars on it. I know, to the interwebs. Silver Wolf Comics. And of course, Wikipedia is asking me, did you mean this instead? Like, no, I did not mean that instead. So again, somebody that doesn't have a Wikipedia entry. Okay, there's an actual website. Appears to be an actual website for Silver Wolf Comics and Games. I don't know if that's in relation to this Silver Wolf. I have not dug too deeply into this. Okay. Here's somebody's comics fandom Wikipedia entry. Silver Wolf Comics was a California-based American comic book publisher founded by Chris Silver in the mid-'80s, with titles and characters created entirely by him. Among the titles it published during its run were Dark Assassin, Guillotine, Legion X1, Port, and Victim. Founded in 1986 and went defunct in 1987. So that was pretty quick. That was pretty interesting. Yeah. That was a very short lifespan there. Let's see. Moving right along to Malibu Comics, Ultraverse, Prototype Issue 1. Volume 1, Number 1, August of 1993. The art doesn't look too bad. Don't believe I've ever read any of these titles. I know Prime was their Superman equivalent. We have Exiles, we have Prototype, Mantra, or it looks like Freaks, Prime, and then Strangers, part of the Ultraverse line of books. Okay, I may look into that one more to see what it's about. Let's see. I've got some over here. First Comics, John Sable Freelance. Now, these I kind of remember reading from way back when. Issue number 9, issue 19, and issue 53. I think these are something my parents might have bought me way back when. John Sable Freelance. A First Comics publishing production. February of 1984. Was this a Mike Grell book? I want to say that, yeah, this is created, written, and illustrated by Mike Grell. Coloring by Janice Cohen. Lettered by Pete Iro. Mike Gold as the editor. Kind of remember enjoying this book for a short period of time. I only have these 3 issues. That may be something I will go back and try to find the earlier issues to this particular run, because I kind of like Mike Grell. I kind of like to see what he's done over the years. And if you're old enough, you probably remember that terribly short-lived TV show loosely based on John Sable Freelance. I believe it was simply called Sable. Ran for maybe 1 season before it was canceled. Yeah, there's some Mike Grell art right here. So yeah, this is going to be on my to look up list. So you set them to the side. All right. Crusade Comics. Atomic Angels #1. Yeah, the sound of Scotch tape being opened for the very first time. She. Okay, that's where I remember Crusade books from. They published She. Okay. Artwork's not bad. It's kind of cartoony in a way. I can see a little bit of manga influence, I think. One of these books, this has got to be the first time I have ever opened this book. The first time in, I don't know how long I've owned it, that I've opened it up and actually looked at it. Yeah, I'm seeing some things that make me think of Gen 13 from Image. I see some stuff that kind of makes me think of manga. Artwork wasn't bad. Coloring wasn't bad. I have absolutely no idea what's going on with it. Let's see. Atomic Angels #2. Created by William Tucci. Written by Peter Gutierrez. Penciled by Steve Ellis. Inked by Mark Morales and Ken Branch. Lettered by Dennis Hessler. Okay. Special thanks to Jim Lee, Gary Kahn, Mark Patton, and Nelson Asensio for Crusade Comics. Publisher William Tucci, editor-in-chief. That's cool. Those are names, some of the names I recognize there. I will take some time to read through this and see what it's about, because this looks somewhat interesting. I kind of like parts of the artwork. Maybe something that kind of grows on me. I don't know. It looks strange. Like I said, first time I've actually opened this up and looked at it in 30 years that I've had it, 30 plus years. Crusade Comics. I'm going to set him to the side and let's see what else I have here. All right. Speaking of manga, Eclipse Comics, Eclipse International, Masamune Shirow's Dominion, #1 of 6. And then Dark Horse Comics manga, Masamune Shirow's Dominion Conflict, all 6 issues. Of course, if you love manga, you love anime, you're probably familiar with Dominion, Dominion Tank Police. And you probably know who Masamune Shiro is. So yeah, I actually bought these way back when. I remember buying these. I haven't touched them in years. It's like you buy something, you read it once or twice, and then you put it in a box and kind of forget all about it. But yeah. Story and art by Masamune Shiro. Translation by Dana Lewis and Torrin Smith. Lettering and retouch by Tom Orzechowski and Angler Trip. I'm not going to attempt that last name. Cover by Masamune Shiro. Designed by Harold Graham. Edits by Dave Chips. Yep. If you love anime, you're probably well familiar with the work of Masamune Shiro. And what I love about manga is just how, even though it's black and white, you really have to appreciate the level of art, how detailed everything is. Every panel on every page has some crazy details to it. How things flow panel to panel, page to page. It's just crazy the amount of details going on. Yeah, I will be rereading those because those were fun. This one, an older publication by Eclipse International, Dominion. This was December of 1989. It's the only issue I have of this run. Again, black and white artwork, very detailed. For those unfamiliar with Dominion or Dominion Tank Police, it's kind of set in a alternate world of the 80s where everybody walks around wearing gas masks because the pollution is such. If you go outside without a mask, you start coughing and wheezing because of the pollution. And the crime is such that the police have to use tanks to fight crime. Hence Dominion Tank Police, or the police having a tank corps. So that's kind of crazy. I'm going to set him to the side. Let's see. These books I have here. Eternity Comics. Robotech Genesis, The Legend of Azor, #1. All right. I can say I have never opened or read these books. Robotech Genesis, Robotech Firewalkers. So this is going to be another first here, opening up the sound of the old Scotch tape ripping away from the poly bag. This book's actually in pretty good shape. I can't remember how or where I came across this from. March of 1992. Robotech Genesis, The Legend of Zor, #1 of 6. Let's see. The Who Did What's. Who Did What's are Jason Waltrip doing the cover, John Waltrip color guides, Joseph Allen Coloring and Color Guides and / Ninja Tech. And then Paul Mounts Covered Colors. Dave Olbrich doing the publishing. Chris Ulm, editor-in-chief. Jason Waltrip, John Waltrip, words and art. Oh, that's kind of interesting. First thing I thought of when I saw this opening spread was Moebius, French artist Moebius. It's not as detailed, or it doesn't quite look like Moebius art, but that was quite reminiscent of that. First thing I thought of there. Artworks Fair. Coloring, that's a lot of blue. That is a lot of blue there. Now we got trading cards still intact. That looks interesting. Robotech. I may actually look this one up. Let's see here. Eternity Comics. Well, there is actually a Wikipedia entry for Eternity Comics. Founded of 1986, defunct in 1994. They were headquartered in Newbury Park, California. They're now owned, well, from, they're apparently owned by Malibu Comics from 1988, and then owned by Marvel Comics from 1994. So I guess they're still a part of Marvel. Let's see. Robotech, one of Eternity's most successful titles, was its 88 to 94 licensings of the Robotech franchise. Oh, that's cool. Oh, we got an entry on legal battles, decline and acquisition by Marvel. Malibu stopped using the Eternity imprint before Marvel acquired Malibu, when Eternity's last two franchises moved to other publishers in the middle of 1994. Ninja High School returning to Antarctic Press, and Robotech moving to Academy Comics. And looking at the Wikipedia entry, they had quite a few titles there. So at one time, they were a pretty big publisher, which is kind of interesting. So these are going to be my future reads. Yeah, this is old polybag and old backing board, so he is going to go away as I flung him across the room. Now, I actually do have quite a bit of Eternity books here. One of the things they did was, I guess, movie tie-ins. Here's Puppet Master, Children of the Puppet Master by Full Moon Entertainment. Those of you who are around for the 80s, the wonderful decade that was the 80s, you probably remember Full Moon Entertainment and the gobs and gobs of movies that they put out. And it's like Full Moon Entertainment. I don't know if they're still around or not. They may still be around, but they were quite a thing. Now this is something I picked up, and I just recently completed this set. This is Ninja. It is a title by Eternity Comics. I have not finished reading this book yet, but I just completed this 12-issue run of Ninja. The character is like a young woman, late teens, early 20s, gets trained in martial arts by her granddad, graduates or whatever, decides she wants to make something of her life. She goes into the army, where the army makes use of her martial arts training, and she goes on espionage, spy missions, whatnot. I've got up to, what was it, issue 5. It's quite entertaining. I'm looking forward to finishing this series. It's no superheroes, no special powers or anything like that. It's just a highly trained individual joining the army and then going on missions. It's actually a lot of fun. I'll go more into this book once I actually finish reading it. I initially bought these off of eBay thinking I was getting a complete set, but when I got the set in the mail, I was missing issues 10 and 11. So I had to pick up 10 and 11. And I finished out the 12 issue run of those, and I got some smaller books here. Ninja Funnies 1 and 2, and then was this Ninja 40-page special number 1. So those are pretty fun. I'm hoping that this title ends well. I quite enjoyed reading it. Quite enjoyed starting it off. Here, I can open up the first issue. Take them out of the shiny new Mylar bag. Eternity Books. Volume 1, number 1, 1986. Published bi-monthly by Eternity Comics. Black and white art. Oh, there we go. There was the Who Did What's, written by C.J. Henderson and Peter Palmer, illustrated by Kevin Farrell and Roy Richardson, lettered by Gary Fields, edited by Martin Birkenwald. Black and white, which pretty nice black and white artwork in this book. Of course, here's the title character, or the main character, being trained in ninjutsu or martial arts by her granddad. That's kind of where she decides she wants to do more. She goes and joins the military. I go, well, we can make use of your special talents, and we know who your granddad is, so we know who trained you. We're going to send you on missions that can utilize your skills, and that's kind of neat. I'm 5 issues into this. I'm looking forward to finishing this run off. Not your typical comic book. It's not superheroes. It's not capes and cowls. It's not special powers or anything like that. It's just a spy espionage type book. All right, going to set those aside right there. All right, this will kind of round out things for today. Of all things that I've collected over the years, over the decades, some things making me think I don't know why I picked these books up. Let me see here. Here's a good stack of books you probably picked up and read once and never went back to again. Marvel UK. At one time, there was like a UK invasion of titles that were shipped over here. Hell's Angels, co-starring X-Men. So I know I've read these. I just don't remember a thing about it. I don't remember much about Marvel UK. I remember at the time there was a great deal of excitement about the Marvel UK titles. It's like, ooh, they're new, they're different. And nowadays it's like, oh, they were new, they were different. They're in the discount box. There's Hell's Angel, Dark Angel. I guess it changed titles. And then we have the indescribable Motor Mouth. I know I've read these books. I just don't recall if they were any good or not. I can't tell you if Marvel UK is still around. I want to imagine they're still around. Motormouth, Motormouth, Cable, Motormouth, and Kill Power. Warheads. Warheads. Yeah, these I had forgotten about these until earlier today when I was looking through some short boxes in my collection. I was like, oh yeah, I collected these. I was like, why? I don't know why I collected these. Oh, Death's Head. Death's Head, I actually remember collecting and reading. I'll flip this over. Death's Head 2, preceded by Death's Head 1. Out of all the titles, this was probably their biggest title, I guess. Death's Head 2. We got some other books here. Death's Head. More Death's Head. Death's Head meets Wolverine. A lot of crossing over with other Marvel characters. Oh, goodness. Look at that. I had forgotten all about this. Oh, some slight damage here. Oh, well. January of, looks like 1993. Some unfortunate damage to the corner here, but yeah, it's shiny foil art. That's actually not a bad cover. That is kind of neat. That's a neat looking cover there. That is really hard to read. When you put dark lettering on a black background, kind of hard to read. But anyway, the artwork doesn't look bad. Pretty typical for most stuff in the 90s. I don't remember the character that well. The Incomplete Death's Head. Man, I collected a lot of these for some reason. Uh-oh, multiples. Why did I have multiples? It looks like the older this was a popular character that I can't tell you a thing about. All right. And more Death's Head, the incomplete Death's Head. 8 of 12. Okay. If it's in, I'll have to go back and kind of reread those because I can't tell you if they're any good or not. If they're good, then I'll have to get the last 4 issues of that 12-issue set. Digitech, the Ultimate Computer Warrior is here. Number 1 in a 4-issue limited series. Marvel UK Digitech. I seem to remember the big draw about this was the artwork. Guest starring Deathlock. Digitech number 4. A lot of crossover with the X-Men. All these characters I just don't remember. I can kind of remember hanging out in the comic book store and buying these at the time because it's like, oh, they're new, they're different, they're Marvel UK. You have to buy them. Mystic Wars 1, 2. Knights of Pendragon. I have absolutely no idea what these. Super Soldiers number 1. The UK's own Super Soldier meets US agent and the first issue extravaganza. The incomplete Death's Head. Those are the ones I've already flipped through. Okay. I'm going to put these right back in the box and forget about them for another 10, 20 years or so. I don't know. I may go back and reread these. Like there had to have been a reason why I collected them in the first place, unless I just collected them to be collecting them. Marvel UK. Okay. While I have the internet in front of me. Marvel UK. All right. Wikipedia saying Marvel UK was an imprint of Marvel Comics formed in 1972 to reprint US produced stories for the British weekly comic market. Marvel UK later produced original material by British creators such as Alan Moore, John Wagner, Dave Gibbons, Steve Dillon, and Grant Morrison. Aha. Okay, so maybe that was the deal. That was probably the reason why I was getting into Marvel UK. I had forgotten all about these books. As I plop over to one side of the short box, I'm putting them back in. Let's see. Marvel UK, founded in 1972, and then went defunct in 1995. And it goes on quite a bit. That's a pretty sizable Wikipedia article, short of any website that goes into them in more depth. It actually looks like they had a pretty long and varied publishing history to them, which is pretty cool. Marvel UK. Okay. All right. Let's see. Keep going on here. Let's see. What do I have here? All right. Speaking of Mobius art, this is Epic Comics Mobius Airtight Garage. Looks like issue 1 of 4, 2 of 4, and then issue 3 of 4. And I don't have 4 of 4, so I'm going to have to collect issue 4 just to be a completist. I mean, if it's a 4-issue run, there's no sense in not having the 4th issue. Of course, if you know who Mobius is, you probably know all about his art. Story and artwork by Mobius. Translator, editor, R.J.M. Lofficier. Colorist, Isabel LeConte. Rick Wayne. Arlette Ovi, and some name I'm going to stumble all over. Allison Kendis and Chris Palomino. Then we got a team of letterers, designer. Let's see, August of 1993. Talk about a unique art style. It's Mobius. The art, the coloring, everything about this was interesting at the time. I'd forgotten what the story was about, but I might as well try getting the 4th issue before I read the first 3. Mobius's Airtight Garage, Onk's Overlord, part 1 of 4, part 2 of 4, part 3, and then part 4. So I kind of remember reading these way back when. Epic Comics Group. Let's look up Epic here. Epic Comics was an imprint of American publishing company Marvel. It's funny how everything somehow leads back to Marvel. If you're not Marvel or DC or Dark Horse, then you're probably owned by one of those 3, or Image or Valiant or what have you. Let's see. Founded in 1982 by Jim Shooter. Successor to Icon Comics. The Wikipedia entry shows a lot of comic book titles to Epic Comics. So yeah, they put out a lot of work. Oh yes, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Alien Legion. Some of these titles I remember. Clive Barker's Hellraiser, Nightbreed. ElfQuest by writer-artists Wendy and Richard Penny. The Gru Chronicles, yep. Yeah, I remember some of these titles. So yeah, Epic Comics has been around. They've put out some pretty good titles over the years from what I remember. Yes, Havoc and Wolverine Meltdown. I have that complete series. All right. Onk's Overlord. I'm going to put this in a stack here to reread. All the books I'm going to reread. All right. So a common theme among all these books was either they were smaller companies, smaller independent creators, or they're putting out books, or they came or somehow became acquired by Marvel or some other publisher. That was kind of the running theme here to these books. The oddball books that you come across. You don't remember ever reading them, but you come across them and it's like, oh, these are different. Another stack here. Adventure Comics. A movie tie-in. You got to love those publishers that do the movie tie-ins, like, oh, was it Topps Comics? Movie tie-ins with trading cards. This one is a Reanimator tie-in. And this one is Paranoia. The Computer is Your Friend. Eclipse Comics. I remember Eclipse around, but this one again, Crossfire #1. Don't know a thing about it. It's just interesting. These books, these titles, they come and they go. There's another Eternity book, movie tie-in. Full Moon Entertainment, Doll Man. For those of you who remember Full Moon Entertainment and Doll Man. Dark Horse Comics, Gunsmith Cats, Shades of Grey. This is Dark Horse manga. This is by Kenichi Sanada. I don't believe I've ever seen the anime. I've seen clips of the anime. I'm familiar with some of the characters or the premise of the manga. This is another book. Is like I picked up somewhere, but I've never actually taken the time to read it. So I'm actually moving this to my to read pile right over here. There's another book by Masamune Shirow, Appleseed. Appleseed Data Book 1 of 2, Dark Horse manga. I'm familiar with the anime because I believe I own all of the Appleseed related anime. Appleseed Data Book. Oh, it's a flip cover. We can flip it here. We can flip it there. Dark Horse Comics, John Burns, Next Men, #0. Aria Press, A Distant Soil, #1. June 30th of 1991, published by Aria Press. Written and illustrated by Colleen Duran. Lettering by Bob Panaha and Gasper Saladino. Black and white art. Don't believe I've ever read this book. I'm kind of curious about it. Looks interesting. That will go over to the to checkout list. Again, Epic Books. Video Jack, one of those books that you come across, and I have absolutely no idea where I came across these, or even if I've read them. It's that sort of thing. Is like you look at it and you go, well, what's this book about? But you never find the time to crack open the book to read it. July of 1988. September of 87. So it goes from 87 to 88. Let's check out Video Jack. Okay, it's in color, which is good. Looks unusual. It's a lot of panels. It looks really busy. Okay, colorful. I've never read this, have no idea, but I am going to move it to my to read in the future. Let's see, issues 1, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So I'm missing issue 2. So just being a completist, I'm going to have to get issue 2 before I try reading this, looks like 6-issue series. The oddball books you somehow come across and you kind of forget you own them. All right, Image, something a little bit more mainstream now. Fused. Fused number 1 and number 2 by Image Comics. I remember actually reading this. It's something about a guy making prototype armor for like search and rescue or something, and something happens and he becomes fused inside the armor. So he can't get out of it. He can't take it off. He becomes actually fused to it or inside of it. I don't know how many issues there were, but I've only have these 2 issues. So that's kind of interesting. I'll set these all aside. Oddball stuff, quirky stuff. The sort of books some of these books you might come across and go, oh, you might find these in somebody's discount bin or dollar bin somewhere. Let's see. So I'm going to end today's stream. As always, I want to thank you all for joining me, whether you're live, lurking, or you catch me on a replay. This is going to be ending with a recommendation. 9 Lives Comics, Starlight Cats. I picked this up a few months back and started reading it and quite enjoyed it. A very nice book here. Written by Shane Davis and Yanzi Lin. Penciled by Shane Davis. Inked by Yanzi Lin. Colored by Candace Hahn and Jason Wright. Lettered by Eric Weathers. Starlight Cats 2021. Shane Davis, Yanzi Lin. 9 Lives Comics. So these are Comicsgate people. I was kind of curious what the book was like, and I was pleasantly surprised by this book. It's very nice, pretty family friendly. Like if you like something family friendly and you like kitty cats, this is a nice book to have. It's fun to read through. I've read through it, quite enjoyed it. I'm waiting for issue 2 because I want to know what happens after this. It's like I have to know what happens after this. Fun read, quite enjoyable. You can find them at a pretty decent price on eBay if you kind of shop around. The last book for the day, my year ending comic book live stream here. This one I picked up. It was like the it's like a Christmas present to myself because I kept saying, "Oh, Battle Brick Road," being talked about by different people here and there, and it's like, well, if I can find this at a good price on eBay, I will pick it up. Say, take on the Wizard of Oz. Looks pretty interesting. See if I can find the page that says who does what. Now here's some of the artwork. The artwork looks really good on this. I have not read this. This is actually going to be something I'm probably going to start reading today or later today. Later today, maybe sometime in the evening. But yeah, this looks enjoyable. I can already tell I'm going to enjoy the artwork. I'm hoping the story is there because some of these things, like, I must know what the story is about. Battle Brick Road #1. Hatfield, Weathers, Townsend. Those are the artists. I don't want to flip open the back cover because I don't want to see anything that might spoil it. But yeah, until I get a chance to read this later tonight, I'm going to slip them back inside the Mylar bag. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. I'm looking forward to checking this out. Once I finish reading this tonight, I might go back to my to read pile here and start reading some of these others. Maybe finish off Ninja by Eternity Comics. So yeah, I may finish this run. Go and start reading this one. If I finish him off, I'll finish this run off. Yeah, this is going to be a fun book to read here, I do believe. And then I'm looking forward to finishing off Ninja sometime today, tomorrow, whenever. Let's see. Been going on a little over. Yeah, been going on a little over an hour and 15 minutes. This has been interesting. I've gone over some obscure books that I've honestly have forgotten about over the years. Some books I remember picking up and reading, like the Marvel UK books. It's just I don't remember what they're about. Don't remember why I started reading them, honestly. These odd ones, I find it interesting to look back at some books and go, well, these publishers aren't around anymore. These publishers were picked up, acquired, absorbed by Marvel or whoever. Some books come and go, some titles come and go. I kind of think of it as a warning for writers, creators, publishers today. Is like, you might have a hot idea, but if you don't stand the test of time, then nobody's going to remember your book. Much like some things by Eternity Comics, or somebody might not even remember or know who or what Silver Wolf Comics was. And there's like a short list of obscure publishers I can think of, but I just don't want to rattle them all off because there's quite a few I can think of that I've seen over the years that have come and gone that have never picked up traction. Now, some of them look interesting. Some of them I'll have to go back and try reading again, or reading for the first time even. Let's see. Okay. As always, as I end the stream here, I want to thank you all for joining me, whether it's live or lurking or you catch me on a replay. Thank you so much. Now, unless I hop online and do something between now and New Year's, thank you all so much. Have a great New Year's ahead, and let's hope for better things in the next year. As I move piles of books around my desk, oh, this is a lot. Let's see. Thank you all again for joining me. Until next time, next year, have a great rest of your Saturday afternoon. Later.